Mom's always happy when she can get a good shot. Okay, so, recently, I've been getting more shit from some dumbasses who fucking saw my, free bleeding post that I did 2 years ago, actually, because a friend of mine reposted. Thanks, Sarai. But so I just thought we needed to talk about it because Sarai also found this fucking article of this spoogerag who wrote an article about free bleeding and used my picture without asking me, which is actually legal and everything because note to parents especially, everything you put on Instagram, on Facebook, that is public. As soon as you put it on there, you no longer have the rights to your own work, which is like dumb, but I would have appreciated him asking me if he could have used my picture, which he didn't. However, I'm glad he did because he was considerate enough to credit me, but he didn't actually ask me if he could use my picture, so that was kind of fucking rude. This guy isn't even a real journalist anyway, because I'm gonna read you his fucking article about free bleeding, and we're gonna loll at how fucking stupid he is and how big of a spoodrag he is for having done so. So, let's get to the article. Okay. This is from a spoodrag named Brian Brewington, and this was published on 20th July, 2018. Okay. So, the article is called... By the way, I looked at all his articles, and all of them have titles that are way too fucking long. So it's called, "We Should Probably Talk About Free Bleeding for a Very Brief Moment." Honey, I called you and I told you that, I texted you, I told you I was about to make a vid. Did you get my text?
Yeah.
Wait,
are you making it right now?
Yeah, you're in the video right now.
Hey everyone, it's Carrie. What's up, y'all?
Okay, well, I have to call you afterwards, okay, honey?
Okay, call me later.
Okay, will do, bye.
Bye.
Anyway, article is, "We should probably talk about free bleeding for a very brief moment." First of all, he didn't put a fucking dash between the free and bleeding, which is how you properly refer to free bleeding. But obviously he's a man, so why the fuck would he know that? By Brian Brewington. And then he credited me. I guess I'll leave a link to the photo. I'll leave a link to the article and y'all can see the picture there. I don't really feel like showing it to you right now. Okay. "This morning, before I so much as got out of bed for a cup of coffee, I found myself scrolling Instagram on my phone. It was there I came across Joe Rogan's post about an apparent trending phenomenon known as free bleeding." He didn't fucking write it correctly, but okay. "While the podcasting heavyweights post wasn't particularly graphic, I made the mistake of clicking the hashtag free bleeding." Okay. You know what? I'm just going to say this because I can already tell this is poorly written and we're not even, 12 sentences in. But I'm just going to say this, and it's really been annoying me. I've noticed this happening as a trend. Journalism, isn't even journalism anymore because I see these, journalistic articles by real journalists, and they do fucking things like this moron just said, of clicking the hashtag free bleeding hashtag. Dipshit. The hashtag was implied at the beginning. You didn't need to say hashtag free bleeding hashtag. He literally said that. He did the hashtag free bleeding and then wrote the word hashtag. Dumb shit. I know how to use Instagram. Apparently you do too, but you're acting like you don't know how. So anyway, these fucking journalists are doing these really kindergarten level typos and still seen as legitimate, and I don't fucking understand it. Learn how to goddamn spell in English if you are going to write in English. Or whatever fucking language you're doing. I'm sure it's exactly the same in other languages too, but anyway. He included in his post, and he ruined my entire appetite for the weekend, despite it only being a Friday morning. Well, dipshit, I'm glad. This is the part where I typically apologize to feminists ahead of time, but you know what? I'm drawing a line in the sand, and I'm sorry I'm not sorry. We're going to get back to that. Hold on. For those who may not be aware of this appalling trend known as free bleeding, I do apologize for having to be the one to introduce you to it. Wow, hashtag misogyny, dumb fuck. This appalling trend. This is something he knows nothing about, but he's decided to write about for some reason. Anyway, I do apologize for having to be the one to introduce you to it. My life was less gross before I accidentally discovered it. My brain less haunted. Okay, if it was such a gross concept to you, why the fuck did you click on it? He clicked on the hashtag free bleeding. Hashtag everyone. So why the fuck did he click on it? When I actually posted this, apparently Joe Rogan made a post shortly after I posted it, and he wasn't even saying hey, this is disgusting. He was just saying, hey, this is some weird thing that's apparently gaining traction and I find it weird. And that was pretty much all he said. And I feel like that's an acceptable thing for him to say about it, but then all these morons were like, oh, ew, that's gross, and then clicked on the hashtag for free bleeding. How fucking okay, so not only did they click on the hashtag for free bleeding, they clicked on the hashtag for free bleeding, because it's so gross. And then they clicked on my post, which was the fucking #1 free bleeding post on Instagram at the time. Then they clicked on my picture, and then they wrote, "You're a fucking dirty hamster, you fugly bitch." Okay, I see people posting the dumbest shit every fucking day of my life, and I want to say all these mean things to them, wow, can you fucking take a picture without posing like a goddamn senior picture? You're 30. Or I want to say, wow, I know you don't fucking know what you're doing literally in your entire life, but I'm not even going to post that on Instagram. I know these things from your pictures, y'all, but I don't say them. Because that's rude, and I'm not gonna go out of my way to fucking be rude to someone for no reason. Like this spoogerag is. Anyway, okay. Free bleeding is the practice of a very select group of women who choose not to wear a tampon or pad during menstruation and instead openly bleed all over themselves in public. This is somehow supposed to empower women everywhere. Well, considering you're a man and you don't menstruate and you know literally nothing about menstruation, how the fuck dare you even write about this? Why the fuck did you think you had authority? Why did you think you had the right to write about this? You piece of shit. Okay, just to make sure I hadn't completely lost my mind in finding this disturbing, I asked the 2 females who currently reside in the same house as I do their thoughts on it. It's kind of a run-on sentence. Just to make sure I hadn't completely lost my mind in finding this disturbing, I asked the 2 females who currently reside in the same house as I do their thoughts on it. Why didn't you say women? He says females. Okay. One almost threw up on the spot when I clicked the hashtag, and the other refused to look at the pictures after I explained what free bleeding was. Good to know I'm not completely alone. Well, the 2 females that you live with are dumb shits, and second of all, you know what? A lot of women are actually fucking traumatized by their periods. They're they still live with traumatization that they had when they got their period when they were 12, 13, 14, whatever, 9, That was a lot of women are fucking traumatized by that. And that's why the 2 females you live with one of them almost threw up. What the fuck is wrong with you? You need to go to the doctor and you need therapy, you dumb bitch. You cannot be disgusted with your own period blood. Are you even a woman? Are you a girl or are you a woman? Are you a child or are you an adolescent or are you an adult? Those women that this dumb shit Brian Brewington was living with, y'all need help and y'all need radical feminism really badly. Anyway, you know what? I've heard this from women too, though. They're like, oh, well, I'm grossed out by my period. We're going to talk about this later. Hold on. Okay. Good to know I'm not completely alone. I'm not one of those people who would shame a woman for choosing to breastfeed in public. No, but you're probably one of those people who would look at her and then fantasize about, having sex with her and then jack off to her and then write an article about it and then be like, oh, hashtag empowering women. Okay. But to compare feeding your child in the most natural way known to woman to a woman purposely and openly bleeding all over themselves in public is not at all a fair comparison. Okay, well, if you're breastfeeding in public, that's fine, but it's completely not the same action as having your period. He's right. This is not at all a fair comparison. While both are obviously natural parts of female life, one provides nourishment to infants and the other is straight unsanitary. Here's the question I want to ask every man who is disgusted by period blood. One, are you gay? It's totally cool to be gay. It's totally awesome that if you want to have sex with men. I have no issue with that. More men are gay than they care to admit. And if a man was in fact gay, that would make sense that he was grossed out by period blood because he never has sex with women. Got it. That's chill. Be gay. Hashtag go gay if you're a man. I got that. 2, if you're not gay and you're still a man disgusted by period blood, are you a pedophile? I'm honestly asking you that. Are you a pedophile? Because you should be turned on by a woman having her period. Idgaff, come at me. You fucking should. It should be a turn on. You should be like, wow, she is such a woman. Wow, look at her menstruate like the real grown-ass woman that she is. I do not have sex with men generally now, but I especially don't have sex with men who are disgusted by period blood. That is literally one of the fucking first things I ask a guy if I'm interested in him, and if he says no, I wouldn't have sex with her, I'm like, goodbye. Get your ass to the curb. Maybe head on down to the gay club, buddy, because you're not fucking getting with me, and you're not actually straight if you don't want to have period sex. Idgaff. It's true, but that's why they're also so. You're not straight if you're grossed out by period blood. I'm sorry if that's like bad news to you, but I think it's good to know. If you're gay, you should know that you're gay and you should have sex with men. But anyway, is straight unsanitary? So given the fact that this guy doesn't know anything about period bloods, how could he even say that it's unsanitary? Okay, while I understand Medium, which is the deplorable site that he works for, which claims to be a real journalistic endeavor, while I understand Medium tends to lean very left, I still don't foresee a wave of people coming to the defense of this very unnecessary practice I unfortunately discovered this morning. I still don't foresee a wave of people coming to the defense of this very unnecessary practice I unfortunately discovered this morning. Okay, so basically, why don't I translate that from you, from man speak to actual clear English, what he meant by that. I still don't foresee a wave of people, okay, that's saying, I know that most people won't come to the defense of this very unnecessary practice I discovered this morning. He's basically saying the attitudes of misogyny are alive and well, and I am cool with this. And I like it. However, just for good measure, I'm going to make a gender-neutral argument against free bleeding. Credibility lost. This fuckwit is too stupid to understand or even state publicly that only women menstruate, and he's going to use a gender-neutral argument, which is misogyny. All these dipshits going around saying, oh, well, you don't have to be a girl and menstruate. Some men menstruate. Ooh, trans women menstruate too, is misogyny, because you're denying the basic reality of women. And the basic reality of women is that most of us menstruate. It's a lot like the fucking patriarchy. You're denying the basic reality. You're gaslighting women into thinking that, oh, all their choices are free choice. But really, we're not even fucking liberated from men. Anyway. okay, this is so fucking stupid. I find it shocking that this guy can even like type on a computer and then press send to in an email and then like send, because this comparison he makes is just so fucking stupid. If my best friend was a guy and that guy spent a week out of every month bleeding out of his nose and just simply refused to address it or deal with it in a reasonably sanitary manner, I probably wouldn't hang out with him that week. Well, dipshit, that's literally not what's happening. You made up some fantasy scenario that would, if someone is bleeding out of their nose for like more than 15 minutes, more than 20 minutes, probably more than 30 minutes, go to the hospital. That is a really serious, like, fucking issue. You need medical attention immediately. And that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. This is a false, fake scenario that would not happen. But he's saying what he would do in this false, fake scenario that would not happen. I don't care. And it's not the fucking same thing, dipshit, spoogerag. I wish you had been aborted. But maybe I don't, because I'm making this really fun video, so thanks. Okay. I probably wouldn't hang out with him that week. Am I supposed to let him come into my home and sit on my very beige couch as he openly bleeds all over it without a care in the world? No, because your friend would be in the hospital if he was bleeding from his nose that fast. And you would probably be too fucking stupid to call 911 or to tell him to go to the hospital. Okay. If that's where we've gotten to as a society, count me the fuck out. Good. Why don't you go live in Antarctica? Get the fuck away from women because you shouldn't be anywhere near them. Okay. I don't feel like I'm being particularly contrarian or controversial when I'd say it's not unreasonable to expect a woman to deal with her period in as subtly sanitary manner as possible. Wouldn't be a Leah Taverly video if my cat wasn't in it. At the door. Dan, come be in the shop. Anyway. Okay, so that's also a shit ton of misogyny. That's saying, I don't think I'm being particularly contrarian or controversial. That's saying, he's saying, I'm assuming the role of misogynist here. I'm assuming the role of misogynist. I expect a woman to deal with her period in as subtly sanitary manner as possible. While it's not some taboo shaming point, it's also not something you have to literally wear openly on your sleeve or pants. Actually, it is a taboo shaming point, dumb fuck. Are you kidding me? Yes, it is. Women get fired for like having their period on them or having their period at work, or they get fired for acting out on her period, and people say that bullshit all the time to women about how, hi, Dan, say hi to everyone, Danny. You're in the shot, mama. You're in the shot, mama. Women get fired and shit all the time, constantly. Women are discriminated against for having their periods. Girls in India and fucking Africa can't go to school when they're on their periods because they don't have products. And people make fun of them and laugh at them. This guy is unfucking believable. Okay, hold on. In a subtly sanitary manner, it's also not something you have to literally wear openly on your sleeve or pants. I just find it ironic that as we make technological advances beyond our wildest dreams, ones that may allow us to one day reside on Mars, which is not capitalized, or, Brian, Mars is actually capitalized because it's a planet. It's what we call a proper noun, honey. And after that, we can practice cursive because this is 5th grade, apparently. Okay. Or take vacations to space. Because going to Mars and taking vacations to space are somehow related to periods. Okay. There's a particular group of people who insist on promoting primitivism. Free bleeding is primitivism. promoting primitivism at its most shocking. There's nothing empowering about openly bleeding all over yourself, regardless of gender. Well, this moron is a liberal all because he's using the term gender, and this moron is a fucking idiot and not worth anyone's time because he's a man saying there's nothing empowering about openly bleeding all over yourself. He doesn't even know what free bleeding is. He's never even actually talked to a real woman like me who actually free bleeds. He didn't even fucking talk to me. It would have been helpful for this article, if you could call it that, if he had fucking talked to me, the person who had the #1 free bleeding post on Instagram, about what that meant. And that would have cleared up a couple things. But since he's not even a fucking real good writer, he's gonna make this dumb shit. Okay. Upon further, very hesitant research, I thankfully discovered it appears this practice essentially started as a protest of taxes on tampons and similar feminine hygiene products. Well, moron, this practice actually started because a lot of women don't have period products. A lot of women can't afford tampons. They can't afford pads. They can't afford cloth pads. Yeah, I don't like it either, Dan. Homeless women have to free bleed. Okay. In fairness to me, because this article is all about him, all eyes on Brian, I wrote what I thought was a complete article before discovering this. I live in Pennsylvania. Good thing I'm not fucking going to Pennsylvania. One of only a very few states. Oh, okay. One of only a very few states in America where such products are not taxed. In fact, the 2 states supplemental to what is considered my tri-state area, New Jersey and Delaware, are 2 others. Delaware because it has no sales tax at all, and New Jersey because, well, I guess it doesn't want women openly bleeding themselves on its beaches in protest. Okay, so not taxing tampons means that women want to openly bleed all over themselves on its public beaches. I fucking hate this guy. He's such a misogynist. Okay. I apparently live in a bubble where tampons are not taxed. I had no idea before writing this that women were paying unfair and unnecessary taxes on tampons. Oh my god. Okay. That being said, free bleeding as a protest is probably a brilliantly disgusting way to change state policy. I know I'd be all for change if I lived in a state where women were being taxed on tampons and protesting in this manner. Wow. So you can't just have a woman say, hey, I don't like it that tampons are taxed. You have to have them bleed all over wherever you are. Call to action for every woman in this guy's fucking town in Pennsylvania. Free bleed the fuck all over him. Follow him with the blood on you. Watch him squirm and run for his goddamn life. Okay. In fairness, though, there's also probably more civilized ways to protest, but perhaps not quite as effective. If I ever see a woman openly bleeding in public in protest of tampon tax, okay, so he's saying, I'll no doubt be writing my state representative on the spot. So he's saying only if he's disgusted by women is he going to write to his state representative for them to not tax tampons. So it takes being disgusted by women. Okay. So the hashtags for this are women, life, politics, protest, feminism. Okay. Why the fuck would a man ever write about this? A man who has no fucking idea what he's talking about, isn't clear about what menstruation actually is, doesn't even speak to women who are comfortable with it, takes my picture, who he could directly message, doesn't fucking spell Mars correctly. Why does he think he has any right to speak about this? I have no idea what's going on in the gay male community with HIV, but I know that that's going on, and other STDs for that matter. I don't know that. I can't possibly know that. Even if I hung out with gay guys for 3 fucking months and was with them all the time. maybe I could get a better idea, but I still wouldn't ever become a gay man, even if I transed out and pretended to be a gay man. I would still be looking at it as an outsider. So I don't have any right to speak on that. And maybe I could say, like, oh, I know for a fact that HIV is the most common group of people to have HIV are gay men. That is concerning to me. I would say that, but that's all I would say. I don't know enough about it. Why the fuck would I write about it? Anyway, this guy's a total moron, and I think more women should free bleed, because that way, if more women free bleed, it would end the stigma against periods. It would at least lessen it. And then maybe it wouldn't be such a big deal for these other girls in other countries who can't afford tampons or pads or any menstrual product to have her period in public. Having your period is a normal thing. Like, are you going to be embarrassed if you have to sneeze or you have to pee or you're sweating because it's really hot? Like, you are a woman and therefore you should be menstruating. All these fucking stupid ass birth control, which I'm completely against, by the way, that's a whole nother video, but all these fucking stupid ass birth controls that like eliminate your period or gives you 4 periods a year or something dumb, yeah, that's bad news. That is bad fucking news. And men create all these things for women so that men can fuck women. Birth control was created by men for women in patriarchy so that men could fuck those women and hopefully not get her pregnant. Oh, because she's on birth control. We're doing another video about birth control. That's not this video, but like, if you had actually even looked at my picture that I took, you would see that I'm doing it in the privacy of my own home. And then I just took a picture and posted it, okay? I can take pictures in my own home of me doing whatever the fuck I want and post them. Does that mean they're going to be posted, that they're going to be met without criticism? No. But I can fucking free bleed in my own home, moron. And I didn't ever say that I was going to like go out in public and ooh, free bleed there, though I have done that, actually. I did that shortly after, it was either shortly after or shortly before I posted that picture. And so when I free bleed, if I do it, I am wearing black, so you don't even fucking see it. If I didn't have like I guess if I was free bleeding, I would bring like a towel with me. Like this time that I free bled, I was wearing black and I had a towel with me, because I was actually going to the beach with some friends, and I would take my towel, like we went to a coffee shop before we even went to the beach, but I just like sat on my towel to be considerate, and I got blood nowhere other than on my skirt that I was wearing. And I probably got it on the towel, but good thing I fucking took the towel with me. I'm saying that women in Pennsylvania should free bleed all over this guy and go to his fucking house and free bleed on his shit and free bleed on his car and free bleed on his life. Because menstrual blood is the only blood shed not from violence, but it's the only blood that men are disgusted by. What the fuck is wrong with you? If you're a straight man and you like women, you should be okay with periods. Women have more intense orgasms while they're on their periods because their uterus is contracting, and you can also have sex for longer because period blood is a natural lubricant. Oh, but you're so grossed out. Brian Brewington is so grossed out. Oh, it's so unsanitary. Wow. You're a piece of shit, Brian. You are a piece of shit. I was talking to a friend of mine a while ago, and I knew she wasn't comfortable with her period, like, at all, just based on prior conversations. And I was like, why don't you just free bleed at home? And she was like, and ruin a towel? I'm like, are you okay? I'm sorry that your life is so messed up that you're actually worried about ruining a towel and she lived alone in her own apartment. Like, or why don't you buy a freaking black towel or a darker colored towel? Like, listen, free bleeding is really important and you ought to do it. Try to do it if you can. And the other thing about fucking free bleeding, listen, when I took that picture, that was during my time of heaviest flow of blood, okay? And I actually know exactly when that happens because I have a fucking pattern of the way that I bleed. So it wasn't like I just like randomly bled all this. I knew I was going to bleed a shit ton right like within the hour so I bleed at night. Like when I'm having my heaviest flow, it's on a specific day of my period and it's at a specific time. And I can schedule around that. And most women have no idea when the fuck that time is because they're so disconnected from their bodies, probably because they're so traumatized from having menstruated the first time they did. A lot of women have tension in their yonis, okay? And when you free bleed, when you're just sitting or standing or doing whatever the fuck you want, and you free bleed, you can feel that fucking tension just go. That's why so many women are tense, is because they're your muscles contract when you're tense. Your body manifests that in a specific way, and for a lot of women it's on their yoni muscles. They tense up and then they don't bleed as much and then they're fucking tense. Oh my god, it is exhausting. Okay. I will leave a link below to this moron's article, and I will leave a link below to my picture. And I also wanted to tell y'all how I deal with my period. You know, when I'm not free bleeding on fucking Brian Brewington's front door, is I use cloth pads. And I've tried everything. First of all, I don't think anyone should be using tampons because I'm against them. The tampon applicators, that plastic is really low-grade plastic. It's also not... it's not, I don't think it's reviewed by the FDA. It's really low grade plastic though, and it's gross. Tampons are also really expensive. And even the 100% cotton ones, listen, the cotton was grown with pesticides. Chances are you don't want that up in your yoni, I'm telling you. But so I used tampons for a long time. I tried to use a Diva cup, but it gave me yeast infections, and I went to the doctor, and the nurse was like, a lot of women, that happens with a lot of women, but a Diva cup was cool. Would be cool if it didn't give me yeast infection. Just know that that's a possible side effect. I've used a menstrual sponge before. I actually still use those, but only if I'm going swimming when I'm on my period. But what I use most of the time is cloth pads, okay? I use fucking cloth pads because I'm a boss. These are, in the long run, these are a lot fucking less expensive than paper pads or tampons. This one's really old. I've had this one a number of years. Old. This one is rainbow. Rainbow, beautiful. This one's a really beautiful one. It's got a mermaid on it. Super cool. This one might be my favorite. Horror. There's Frankenstein. I bleed all over his face. William Henry Pratt was kind of cute in Frankenstein. So here I can bleed on his face. Thanks, buddy. So this is cool though. Look, it says horror, monsters, horror up there. And we got like a Scooby-Doo mansion, the moon, bats, vampire, gal. I love my cloth pads. They feel exactly like underwear. In the long run, they're a lot less expensive than pads and tampons, disposable ones you can buy. Disposable pads and tampons, I will add, also hurt our Mother Earth. So, try to avoid. One thing that I actually want to do, now that I'm so into free bleeding, okay, one thing that I want to do is, I want to make like a skirt, like a white skirt, and then I want to have I have to figure out exactly where I would bleed, like on the skirt, right? Okay. or at least part of this part of the skirt would have to be white. I want to fucking make it say, I want to put text on it and have it say, real woman, and then when I'm on my period, so the best time of the month, it would be red. It would be stained red. Like, real woman would be stained red because only women menstruate. Duh. I was gonna say something else. What else was I gonna say? I forgot. Well, men need to fucking stop talking about periods because they don't fucking know what they're talking about. And if you're a real straight man, shut the fuck up if you're disgusted and learn to fucking love it. Or maybe come to terms with the fact that you're gay. It's okay. It's okay to be gay. It's okay to be gay. But if you're claiming that you're not gay and you're a man and you're interested in women, maybe you're actually interested in girls. So therefore, maybe you're a pedophile. Which is bad. Here's my knitting. Almost done with the rainbow. I made it all the way to period blood red. With this one, you can't really see with the lighting, but that's what it is. I'm thinking more about girls in other countries who don't have access to period products. And I'm also thinking about going topless because breastfeeding is really stigmatized and people are really rude to women who breastfeed. In the state of Oregon, where I live currently, it's legal. It's 100% legal for a woman to be topless. So therefore, I think it's kind of my duty as a woman who does not have a kid to go around topless. That way I can end the stigma, start to end the stigma against breasts, because like you shouldn't only be allowed to see my breasts if I'm breastfeeding. Like that shouldn't be the only context in which it's acceptable to see a woman's breasts. And like, are women going to be sexualized? Yes. I don't know why people like a woman is going to be sexualized if she's wearing a bikini or she's wearing a burqa. The end. I'm sorry. So I'm saying it's privileged women's duty to go access the spaces that they access and do things like destigmatize certain things. Like, maybe if the whole fucking world was a little bit more educated about menstruation, it wouldn't be so embarrassing and these other girls wouldn't be taunted for simply being on their periods. Hello! This shirt, I wish it said period party gal, because I don't like being referred to as a girl, because I am in fact a woman, but I wore it for this vid. I went to Joann Schinderle, I think that's her last name, Joann Schinderle's, I don't know how to say it, but I know how to spell it. Joann Schinderle's set, she has a whole fucking set about talking about her period. It's hilarious. I feel like I was going to show you something else. I forgot. But yeah, I mean, this fucking moron, first of all, don't listen to these morons. Let this moron be an example of exactly how spoogrags shouldn't act. I'm reminded of a quote I was thinking of earlier, which is, man is the only animal to claim a god but behave as though he doesn't have one. Men. Have at it, men. And just like PSA, if you're a man and you're against being with a woman on her period, you're probably gay. Or a pedophile. Just so you know. And don't fucking waste your time writing about how disgusting it is that women have periods and how they should subtly deal with them. You fucking misogynist. You hate women. Okay, that time though that I was free bleeding was super cool, that I mentioned to you that I free bled in public. Went to the beach, and it was a nude beach too. So I got to be nude on the beach, bleeding, and it was really fucking cool. I can't really describe the feeling of running on the beach with my dog naked. It was so, you have to experience it for yourself. So I really hope that all women can one day experience free bleeding and then therefore become okay with their bodies as women. Because until we do that, we ain't getting shit done.